Back in 2009, I was working for another estate agency business, a really great independent in Worcester. I'd been with them since 2004, and essentially I'd learned from the bottom all the way up to the top. So I was a junior estate agent when I joined, junior negotiator, which was a great experience for me because it meant I got to kind of experience kind of all aspects of the business. And then I showed some good growth, showed some good progress, became their branch manager during the recession. So back in 2007, when things got tough, I started to run their branch for them. And as it got to 2009, it felt like things were starting to turn a corner. The market started to come back. And it was at that point I realised that actually it probably was going to be a good time for me to set up on my own. I chose to go back to Droitwich Malvern because that's where I grew up, went to school there, played rugby there, and felt it was a really nice opportunity for me to kind of go and cut my own teeth in a town that I knew very well. Had massive support from locals, friends, parents of friends, brothers and sisters of friends, and the day I opened, 1st of October 2009, it was good. It started well. So the property market back in 2009 was different to what it is now. I think there's never a normal market to work in, but it was recovering from a recession, so less transactions taking place. The interest rate was low, which was attractive for people to come back into the market, and actually it worked in my favour because when I began, I set up as a one-man band. I used to pop a sign on the door that allowed me to lock up and go and do a valuation, go out and do viewings, and in my little shop on St Andrews Street, which was kind of tucked out the way, it worked really, really well. As the market kind of grew, my business grew, so we looked to employ more staff. We've moved to larger locations, which you now enjoy. But really at the beginning it was a tougher market probably than we're in at the moment. It was a lot of hard work, but I actually enjoyed it because it was me kind of driving my own destiny at that point. Pivotal moment for me, probably nationally, we got recognised for an estate agency award back in 2014, so I'd been trading for 5 years at that point. Before then, your metrics aren't really real because you're measuring yourself against your competition, which probably isn't the thing to really worry about, but it's how many properties you've sold versus how many other people had sold. And to go from someone who had nothing in my window originally back in 2009 to being kind of the top selling agent then was quite a proud moment. There was a lot of competition, there was a lot of estate agents in Droitwich originally when I first began, but at this point, 2014, we had 2 offices, we employed a good number of staff, and we got gold for best small business in the Midlands, which we're really, really proud of. And also there was an event that took place in Droitwich, which we helped out to solve the problem. Basically, there was an arson attack on a Lido Park in Droitwich, and the play equipment got burnt. Again, it's in 2014, I seem to remember. And as a business, I'd put something on our social media channel in the morning. All of a sudden, I was being interviewed on the radio, and then all of a sudden, we managed to get some crowdfunding underway. We crowdfunded and we got over £16,500, which basically meant that we could replace the play equipment. We had massive support from locals, massive support from businesses. Worcester Warriors helped us out. I remember there's just everyone got involved basically, but in a short space of time, I felt that as a business owner, I'd had a positive impact in my community, and that was probably one of the things that put us on the map a little bit in Droitwich. It was, great, and the Lido Park still enjoys the same play equipment that we helped to crowdfund, so I think everyone walks past it and they remember how we got that back, basically, so it was a positive moment for us. So we've got some clear values basically as a business. That is that we're likeable, we're energetic, we're dedicated, we're successful, and we're influential. And each of those means something for us, for our clients, because if we weren't likeable, people wouldn't come back to use us again. We need to be likeable colleagues, we need to work for each other, we need to help each other out. Energetic's important. If you've ever gone into a morning meeting and you've got someone who's not very energetic, it can take the energy out of the room. So that's quite an important one for us. Dedicated, you've got to be dedicated in this business because it's not just a case of listing it on portals and expecting it to happen. You've got to make sure the transaction takes place, whether that's a sale or a let. Successful, well, hopefully surviving 14 years of business shows that we are successful. People say it, the comments are lovely when people say I see your boards everywhere, and often with the sold or let slips on them, which is brilliant. And then finally, that influential one. I think influential for me is kind of doing a little bit more than just being a business. I'd like to kind of think that we have positive impact in our community. Our community fund helps a lot of charitable organisations locally. Nationally, we've been recognised as a good business. It's nice to know other estate agents in the UK do like to reach out to me and ask questions, and I'm more than happy to help with that because you only learn by asking people questions. So yeah, those are our core values, and everyone understands it. It was important for us to kind of really put them down in writing so everyone understands what we're all about. So in terms of the changing needs of vendors and landlords, I mean, ultimately they want the result, so we know that that's what we're here to do. I think it's important for us to always try and be one step ahead, so we're ahead of the curve really, and I don't just look in the UK for what's trending and what's the best thing to do. We're looking across into other countries as well, and I take a lot of kind of advice from other agents up and down the country, but also internationally as well. And it's about really just doing best for your client. It hasn't changed in the 18, 19 years I've been an estate agent really. We're memorable for the right reasons. That's the vision of the business. So if that means we need to spend more money on technology, we'll do it. If that means we've got to try something innovative, we'll do it. If that means we've got to make a couple of extra phone calls, we'll do it. It's not all just plug something in and it'll fix it. You've got to make sure you've still got the dedication. And one thing at the moment that I'm kind of probably quite proud of is every single morning I'm filming a clip for my staff, so it's a tip about the market. A few of my agents have only worked since kind of 2020, 2021, where the market has been quite easy, dare I say, supported by government incentives and low interest rates. But I've been an agent prior to a recession, worked through a recession and worked out the other side of a recession. And so some of the good stuff that I used to do back then, I'm just telling my staff about it now really, just giving them a few tips and a few ideas, and it's already getting some good feedback from the team, like they're implementing it and actually it's going to have a positive impact. So I suppose moving with the times, yes, we're moving forward with technology, but actually we're going back to what works best and making sure that all of our staff are geared up to do what our clients need us for. Well, I'm really, really proud because I knew when I was a estate agent running the business and doing all the appointments on my own that I could deliver a fantastic service. I still have people contact me today who bought or sold with me back kind of 14 years ago, which proves that we did a good job back then. And when you get to this size, 3 branches, 38 members of staff, it's a little bit more about the team delivering that as opposed to it being me. And I think that they do it. They probably do it better than I did myself, which is amazing. Clearly they're a bigger setup, so you've got management looking after team members who are obviously being developed. But I think the real kind of sign on it is the amount of Google reviews we've got. We're almost up to 900 Google reviews, which, I mean, I would never have put that in my business plan that I could get to 900 Google reviews, but that really should give some people the confidence in what we deliver as a service. Certainly gives me goosebumps to kind of think what people are experiencing without my hand, like without me being involved at all. And I'm proud that that's obviously because of the management, but it's also because the staff have got the right tools and they just work so hard for our clients. So yes, that's really good. And it's strange to go away on holiday and not be wanted. It's strange to nip into offices, no one expects you there and they don't have questions for you when you arrive. It's now at a sustainable point where the teams are able to run this without me, which is amazing. I think there's probably a few that will be worth mentioning here. The Lido Park I've already mentioned, but that crowdfunding that we helped the community to raise that money, that was significant. And as I said, it's a positive impact that's still being had now. It's still there. This Lido Park is for everyone to enjoy. More recently, a staff member saw a gentleman on the floor. He tripped and he'd essentially fallen to the ground. And it just kind of, I'm not sure that there were many cars that went past before this happened, but my team member stopped, made sure the gentleman was comfortable with another member of the staff, spent a lot of time with that gent, came back to the office or called the office. One of the team members from the office went out to support as well. And it just kind of shows what we're like really, like nothing's kind of beyond us. We want to support as best we can. We all have busy workloads, we all have busy days, busy diaries, but the guys always get involved if they can and chip in. I think that's probably kind of nice for us. Like, we are rooted in the community. That's always been quite important to me. And having a business that most of us kind of live in the towns that we work or the city that we work, it's good because we can do some positive in our area. So, sharing the vision and values, it's hard to see from someone's CV whether they do have those values, but typically in the interview process, because we do have clear values, it's easy for our team members to kind of really work out whether they are going to be us or not. Likeable, everyone wants to be likeable. In an interview you can come across likeable, but I think that's the crucial one really. And for us, most people that join our business aren't estate agents, and that's not a bad thing. They come to us with no experience. They might have work experience in other areas, say automotive or something like that. And often they're the best ones, because if the attitude's right, we can train everything. We can do everything we need to. when we onboard someone, when someone joins the company, I spend the first day with them, so I'll do the onboarding, and that allows me to kind of set out about the vision, the values, where we plan to be in 10 years time, where we plan to be in 3 years time. We're very clear with our blueprint on what we're kind of expecting people to do, and I think that's nice because when someone joins the company, they're not just going to come in, get sat down, plugged into the computer and told there's the phone, start ringing out. They're actually going to be brought into why we are, who we are, how we've got to where we got to, but actually where we want to be in years to come as well. And certainly I kind of remember from former employers that I've had, it's always better when you know where you're meant to be going to then obviously put your effort in and support it. So yeah. Yeah, we do have some community initiatives that we're really proud to be a part of. So we did an Easter egg hunt earlier this year with Droitwich Cricket Club, which took in the Lido Park. We often get involved with events that are taking place, so sponsorship, sponsoring football teams as well, but our community fund's probably one of our proudest things. So back in 2020 when the lockdowns were happening and we were all paying our respect to the NHS and for how hard they were working, I decided to bring in a fundraiser, which would basically mean anyone who listed their property during that time, I would donate £100 of the fee upon completion back to, it was Worcestershire NHS Trust. I decided actually then in the following year to continue that. So the community fund now is not just exclusively towards the hospital, it's for charities, community groups, schools. And the great thing about it is, obviously it's potential income, but it's really nice to know that the vendors, upon completion, are doing something back, like they're paying something back. They get to choose, so the vendor picks who they want to donate the money to. We organise it, so they haven't got to get involved. We organise it on their behalf, and we've given out over £50,000 now in this short space of time to local community groups and charities. And I know that will have a positive impact. It might only be a small gesture of £100, but to some small charities that don't get any funding, it takes a long time for them to fundraise that much. So that's probably for me a bit of a legacy that I hope I can continue, and actually I feel we should be known for, something that we're giving back into our community. Is to see how well we've done, to look back at kind of what we've delivered in this short space of time. It has been an ever-changing landscape. There's been a lot of businesses come into the industry, some that you would say were set to disrupt estate agency forever, but I think the traditions of good estate agencies stood the test of time. We choose to have physical locations, we want to be approachable, we want people to be able to park up and come in to see us, and I'm really quite proud that we don't feel like we're going backwards ever. We're always looking at the next opportunity. That's not always through growth. It can just be just doing what we do, but do it a little bit better. And the team, you know, I'm kind of living through the team now. I'm not having to do all the transactions myself. I might be available for contact at the beginning, but a lot of the team members will essentially see the job through, and that's really rewarding as a MD to kind of see that what I set out is now being carried out at a larger scale than I could have ever delivered on my own, through team members who all believe it really, who all can be trusted and work really hard to deliver that memorable service. So staying ahead of industry trends is hard. You can never switch off. I think for me, I'm always learning, and I think that's important. I don't think I know everything. I don't think I know best, and I know that there's some people out there who've got some scar tissue having experience things that I haven't yet, so I'm quite receptive to learning from other people, be that through podcasts, be that through, you know, industry, press, whatever it might be. I think it's just making sure you keep your ears open. I have come up with some ideas in the past which I kind of thought on paper looked amazing, but actually when you start to try to implement them, you realise there's some pitfalls, and I'm, you know, big enough and ugly enough to kind of admit my mistakes, and if the team back me and go with it, but we decide it's not for us going forward, then we can retract. I try not to chase too many shinies anymore. I used to have a bit too much time on my hands and I used to go after everything that looked great, but now with my experience head on, I think I can pick out what we really need to do going forward. I'm really excited about what AI might do for our business. I think it's interesting to know that that's available, but that's not to cut corners and save us time. It's actually going to allow us to do more. So anything we can do with AI, I think is going to be positive going forwards, and I think we're only at the tip of the iceberg on that one. So we'll see what's to come. Challenges I face in the business, it's really tricky when you lose staff, and I think sometimes you find that there's staff are approached by a number of other businesses because ultimately they are working for a good agent in the industry. And I've always found it difficult. I shouldn't take it personally, but I do often take it personally when I lose a member of staff. And it's rewarding to see them go on to do good things. You know, that's a real positive, but still it's that position where you've got to kind of try and find someone new, get them in on board with your values, get them on your vision, and then essentially build them up again. So it's good. I should see it as kind of a graduation, I suppose, finishing school and graduating, but it's always tricky to lose someone that's worked hard for you and you've got some good experience and you've got some good memories with. So that's been the hardest part, and it will probably continue to be the hardest part because we always need to be recruiting. We've got to always be looking. The exciting thing about Nicol Co going forward is I think the team that we have is a really strong unit, and I think recent holidays have kind of proven that I'm not really needed anymore, which is great and sad at the same time, but it is great because they've got so many great systems and processes that things just work, and it allows us to kind of now look at where we can kind of push the boundaries a little bit more. I know the market's tougher. I remember I became the best estate agent I could be during those times when I was kind of 3 to 5 years into my learning, now 19 years in. It was that kind of period that I really found out what estate agency was about. And my team, if they stick with the industry, I think they're going to really experience that kind of going forward. We're not in those dark times. It's not a banking crisis. We don't have those issues, but it's going to take a little bit more skill set now. And I'm quite excited that the team that I have, and a couple of extras that we're going to include, but the team that I have are geared up to do what this industry needs. So yeah, I've got 14 years experience as my own business, but 5 years before that with a previous employer, so 19 years experience. It does make me feel old. I think advice I would give to anyone that wants to become an estate agent, or if they are an estate agent already, I think it's important to have someone to look up to. So you need to have a mentor. You might need to have someone who's just a buddy in your team, so someone who's done it before you. And there's a lot of different kind of industry opportunities out there for mentoring. But also in your office, you've probably got people that have been there a few months longer or a few years longer than you. And I would do all I could to kind of tuck in under their wing. The reason I feel I'm a good estate agent is because I joined as a junior, which is essentially bottom of the pecking order, like an apprentice would be known as now. And I've worked in every single role. And I think that's set me up for being a good estate agent. I used to phone everyone's viewing feedback for them. I used to give that to the vendors. I used to do everyone's measuring up for them on valuations. I've done all the tasks, and I think because I've done it repeatedly and so many times, it's just helped me to be a better agent myself. I also think that people should be constantly learning. I don't think it should be down to the employer to make sure their staff are learning. I think the employee themselves should be learning. So in their own time, they should be reading books. In their own time, they should be listening to podcasts. The beauty of a podcast is you can listen to it between appointments, and that inspires me. I mean, like I said, I don't think I know everything myself yet, but listening to things like that just gives you a bit of a new perspective, new ideas, and it can then be implemented in your work life and actually can work quite quickly. So I think that's it really going forward. I think that's the good thing. So celebrating 14 years with Nicol Co, I'm very, very proud. I've got a lot of staff members to thank for getting us to where we are. It's not worthy of a birthday cake. Maybe we'll do that when we're 15 years old, but 14 years old is just another step towards where we want to be, really. It's been a tricky journey. There's been some challenges, as there will always be in business, but you can kind of look back on birthdays and be proud of what we've achieved, the successes. Yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of making sure that we hit what our targets were for 2030. That's our 10-year goal marker. And so yeah, we've still got a long way to go, but I'm just pleased to still be standing, really. I think the business has done really, really well. It seems to have grown in all areas. We took on an opportunity in Malvern 2 or 3 years ago, and that's been doing really well. And I hope that should people kind of consider us for evaluation, they'll see that we've worked very hard over 14 years. Nothing's just come to us. We've had to graft for it. We've outlasted a few agents. There was one agent that said I was only going to last 6 months when I first opened up, and they're no longer trading. So I suppose it's inspired me to keep cracking on. And like I said, the next part of the journey for me is making sure that the team are all set up to work with my input, but without my being there all the time, because that's a really strong position for us to be in, that we've got time to work with our clients and my support's there in the background if needed, but not always required.